If you've ever sat down at a piano or picked up a guitar and tried to write a good chord progression, and you just thought to yourself, what chords am I supposed to be using? I feel so lost right now. Don't worry, you are totally not alone. A lot of people, when they first start making music, feel this way. Hello, everybody. My name is Zach Vias, and I'm an independent music artist with about 6 songs out on streaming platforms. On this channel, I love to share everything I've learned about music production, songwriting, and how to build songs from scratch. Before we get into today's video, I just wanted to announce that I'll be launching my first course here soon, most likely at the end of next month in August, and it's going to be a beginner music production course. And in that course, it's going to go over music theory. It's going to teach you basic piano knowledge on piano and keys. It's going to teach you what an 8-bar loop is, how to build out that 8-bar loop so you can arrange it into a full song. And it's going to teach you how to record vocals. And it's also going to recommend gear that I recommend starting out with so you can start building out your home studio just so you don't have to go, rent out studio time every single time you want to record music, just because that gets expensive. This course is going to be perfect for anybody just learning music production. If you're interested in signing up for that, there will be a link in the description below where you can sign up with your email, and anybody on that email list will be notified when the course launches, and you'll be getting a discount code since you guys will be the first to enroll in the course. That will most likely launch next month at the end of August. Enough about that. Let's go ahead and dive into today's video. All right, so let's talk about how I approach writing chord progressions. The first thing I usually do is I just sit down at my piano or guitar. Sometimes it is guitar. I just sit down with the instrument and just start jamming around. And when I jam around, I usually am playing chords that kind of match the feeling that I am trying to portray in a song. If I'm feeling sad, most likely I'm going to write a sad chord progression. If I'm feeling happy, I'm most likely going to write a happy chord progression, and anything in between. And so I usually do approach writing a chord progression based off how I feel. Now, in order to be able to write chord progressions based off how you feel, you do need to have a decent understanding of how chords sound together. For example, a very popular chord progression is a 4-5-6 chord progression, or a 6-5-4 chord progression, or a 4-6-5 chord progression. Anything with 4-6-5 in it, it's a very popular chord progression. A lot of songs use it. And how do I know that? Well, I've just been making music for so long, and I've studied a lot of songs, and I just know that chord progression is a very popular chord progression. And so what I'm getting at here is if you don't know what chords sound good together, you need to go study songs that you like and learn the chords that they're using in that song and start playing that song on your guitar or on your piano so that you can start learning and having an understanding of what chords sound good together. If you look at most musicians who are making music or who have been making music for a long time, they know how to play a lot of songs on piano. I know how to play several songs on piano. That knowledge has helped me be able to develop a sense of what chords sound good together. Not only do I know a lot of songs on piano, simply just by, looking up YouTube tutorials and how to play these songs, I have played keys at churches for like 3 years now. And so when you play an instrument at church, you're learning like 3 to 5 songs on a given Sunday. And so you really start learning what chords sound good together. Studying other songs is going to be super beneficial for you in order to figure out what chords sound good together. Another cool thing about me now is when I hear songs, I can usually be able to tell oh, that's a 1 chord, or that's a 4 chord, oh, that's a 5 chord, or that's a 6 chord, a 6 minor chord. I have been around music so much and I've been studying so much of it that I can now tell almost just by hearing it what chords they're playing. And a lot of musicians that I play with at church, they're kind of the same way. If they're a guitar player or a bass player, they'll be able to tell oh, that's this chord. Oh, that's this chord. Because they've just been doing it so much that you can start hearing, what chords songs are using. And it's a really useful skill to have as a music producer or as someone who is making music, just because it'll help you start understanding, as I've been saying, it'll help you start understanding what chords sound good together. The next thing that will help you is actually having a little bit of music theory knowledge. I'm talking like sus chords, adding sevenths and ninths, maybe even playing around with minor chords or diminished chords. All that terminology and knowing what those are will really help you to write interesting chords. For example, one of my favorite songs, A Sky Full of Stars by Coldplay, they actually use a lot of seventh and ninth chords in that song. And it's what gives it this certain feel to it. Like if they weren't using seventh and ninth chords, it wouldn't have that same feeling. I don't necessarily know how to explain that feeling, but like it's just a type of sound that you learn to hear, being like, oh yeah, these are seventh and ninth chords that they're using, versus just like, oh, they're just using regular 1 or 2 minor or 4 chord progressions here. And so yeah, learning how to do that. Also adding sus chords. This is something I learned playing in church a lot. A lot of church songs use sus chords. And so I started implementing sus chords in the chords that I write. Instead of playing a regular 4 major chord, I'll play a 4 sus 2 chord, or a 5 sus chord. And once you get familiar with these sus and 7th and ninth chords, you'll start using them in your songwriting more, and it'll just help you write more interesting chord progressions. But if you are just starting music production, don't get too caught up in trying to learn sus, 7ths, and 9ths. Like, eventually you'll get the hang of it over time, and they are helpful, but they're not necessary. There are definitely great songs out there that just use basic 1, 4, 5, 6 minor chord progressions. And so just keep that in mind as you are learning music production. The last tip that I want to give is, even though I have all this knowledge, like I know what chords sound good together, I know how to play piano and acoustic guitar, sometimes I just can't come up with a good chord progression. And that's just life. That's just the reality of making music. Sometimes I'm just not inspired by anything. Sometimes I feel like I'm just not making anything good. And when that happens, I actually just go to Splice. And if you don't know what Splice is, it's just a sample library that you can access. It's like a paid monthly subscription thing where you can get drum samples and chord samples and all this other stuff. But I'll just go there and just flip through loops and try to find good chord progressions. They have a lot of samples on there with great chord progressions. So I'll just pull from there, put that in my DAW, and I'll just start playing around with those chords. Like I'll start building out drums to it and trying to structure it out and see if I can make a song that way. And sometimes I'm able to do that and I like the song. Other times I don't like the song and then I just trash it and move on to the next song. And so that's just the reality of making music as well. Like you don't always sit down and write amazing chords. And so sometimes, you do use samples from Splice. And as you start, getting more familiar with music production and, if you do download Splice, you'll actually start hearing samples that are in super famous songs that have played on the radio. Like I've definitely found a couple where I'm like, oh, that's that big song right there. And they just built that out and built drums around it and put vocals on it and build it out into a full song. So you can find good stuff on there. And so that's what I do when I get stuck. To close this video out, I just want to leave it at this. When it comes to writing a chord progression, it really is just about landing on something that inspires you to keep making the song. Whether you come up with the melody on your own or you find a sample from Splice or another sample library. What matters is you're just able to build it out and make a song that you like, and you achieve the feeling that you're going for. That's the most important thing. Because once you have a simple loop that you like, everything becomes easier. It's easier to build out a drum progression. It's easier to build out a chorus. It's easier to continue writing lyrics over it and stick with the long haul of building out this track. Because making songs can take time. It's not always easy. And if you have a chord progression that you really, really like and are passionate about, it'll make it that much easier to build out the song. If you guys like this video, feel free to like it, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to see more content about getting better at music production and improving your songwriting craft. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.